Hi, my name's Anelise, and I know why you're depressed. Hi everyone, my name's Anelise. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video I hope will not be too controversial, but we will see how it's received on the other side. Today I wanted to talk about why you are depressed, and more importantly, giving life meaning and purpose. I will, of course, be referencing directly my own experience for most of this video. This is where this message is coming from, my lived experience and what I have found to be true, and how I have kind of transitioned out of a state of perpetual depression and into a state of experiencing increasing levels of meaning and purpose and fulfillment in my life. So as a person experiencing varying degrees of depression and, existential horror, there were these questions that kind of just looped in my head over and over again. These questions are, why am I here? What is my purpose? Why was I even born? And oftentimes I would verge on resenting the fact that I was in fact born, because it just didn't make sense to me. Like, what is all of this? Why are we here? What are we doing? I don't get it. And this is a question that I think a lot of people come back to over and over again, and it makes sense why this would lead to being depressed, right? And we'll get to that in a second. I think the first main avenue that I went looking down was science, and science explains the how, right? Like the machinations of why we're here and how life happens and reproduction and all of those things, and when a mommy and a daddy love each other very much, but it still fails to adequately explain why. So, I get how I came to be here, on a scientific level, the way that my cells formed and grew into a human person, and obviously, my mom gave birth to me, and, that's how a human being gets here. But that's how, right? That's not why. The question of why has a very different flavor. Why am I here? For what end? For what purpose? And, it is an individual question about my own existence, but it's also, when you take it out to 100, it's a question about the very nature of reality. Why does any of this exist? What are we doing? Why? Maybe the scientific perspective is that this is a package of toothpicks that just fell on the ground, and, in that randomness, life popped up. Sorry, not good enough. Not good enough. Not an adequate explanation. Did not satisfy this recurring, looping thought and question that circled in my head. Why am I here? Why am I here? Why am I here? The only answer that the general world gives for why you're here is to please yourself, right? You're here to live your life the way that you want it and express your own uniqueness, and that's why you're here. That's it. You're here to make yourself happy. And again, I found this explanation very, very inadequate, because if I'm here to make myself happy and I find myself not to be happy, then my life is pointless. I have not achieved what I desired. I have not achieved my purpose. I'm not happy, so what am I doing here? I personally have found that living to please myself is a completely pointless reason to live. It's not a reason at all. It's utterly useless, and on top of that, it's exhausting. I've found it to be entirely exhausting because of the simple fact that the goalposts are constantly moving, depending on the weather, or what time of the month it is, or what kind of sleep I got the night before. The things that will make me happy vary, and sometimes there's just nothing. Sometimes you have a bad day. Then there's the whole question of, different types of happiness. There's superficial satisfaction that comes from momentary pleasure, but in the long term, it's not pleasurable. And then there's the satisfaction of a life well lived and a purposeful, meaningful life. So that's an additional factor of confusion, is, am I here to please myself on a very momentary, moment-to-moment basis, satisfying my like most primal desires? Am I supposed to reach for something higher? Because easy, like the easiest path, the path of more instant gratification, does not always equal happiness. So the answer that I have landed on as of right now is that you gotta start living for more than just yourself. So this is what I want to really unpack today, because what does it mean to live for more than just yourself? Really, what I want to discuss is what it has looked like for me. What I have found is that I don't necessarily, in every instance, have to actually change the way that I'm living, but I have definitely needed to acquire better reasons for why I'm doing what I'm doing, and reasons that I can kind of fall back on and return to, and that drive me forward with a sense of purpose through my life. So in this vein, one of the things that I have strived to do is to make it personal. And so when I'm thinking about why I do what I do, I'm thinking about a personal reason that relates back to not just me, but like where I come from, heritage, family, lineage, history, all of those different elements. And thinking about that, like me, like it's personal, but it's not just me, right? It's me plus my environment, community, ancestry, descendants, all of those pieces together. So I'll give you a couple examples here. I write in cursive, and the reason I do this on a superficial level is because it looks pretty. But the deeper reason, the reason that drives me forward and makes me feel a greater sense of purpose in my life, is because I used to write letters to my grandmother, and she would always, lovingly berate me for writing in print. She has since passed, and now I write in cursive consistently because it helps me honor my grandmother and it keeps her close to me. The way that I dress is another example of this. It would be easy to follow trends, and it would be pleasurable in a certain way because I'm, fitting in and doing what everybody else thinks is cool and getting, social currency in that way. The reason why I dress the way I dress, again, has a lot to do with family and history and lineage. So just an example right here, right now. All of my jewelry is family pieces. And that's kind of a switch that I made when my husband proposed to me, because previously I had been wearing entirely silver jewelry. I liked silver jewelry. I liked shopping for it and picking it out. It's a little bit more affordable. But when my husband proposed to me, it was with this gold ring that was his grandmother's. Let's see. There it is. And I found this ring so beautiful. I really, really wanted to have a ring like that was a family piece. I didn't know that it existed on his side of the family, so it was a total surprise and a wonderful surprise. And based on this ring, I decided to make the switch to wearing gold jewelry, and wouldn't you know it, tucked away in my mom's and grandmother's jewelry boxes were different pieces of gold jewelry that nobody wore because everybody leans to silver in the rest of my family. So I have these hoop earrings in my ears that I wear every day now that were my great-grandmother's. I have this gold initial necklace that was my grandma's. She also had a name that started with A, so that's just an extra special piece. And then I also have my grandma's class ring that I wear on my right hand. So again, this whole thing, this random element of life, which is getting dressed or wearing jewelry, which once was such, I know it sounds so ridiculous in a way, but like every part of my life was so fraught with choice. It's like, oh my gosh, what do I choose? What do I decide? What do I want to wear today? It's just a way to simplify, but also beautify and imbue my life with more meaning. I'm not, I do have other jewelry and I pick it, but it's like this is my jewelry that I wear. These are my family pieces. They have meaning. It makes it so much more obvious, and it takes away a lot of that noise of like, how can I please myself? How can I please myself? How can I like make my life purposeful and make it feel like I make sense in this world? That's just one other way. Another thing that I do is strength train. And, you know, there are many, many reasons why people go to the gym or work out. I have a lot of reasons myself why I do this, but if I go to the deepest level, the most meaningful, purposeful reason why I work out, it is so that I can have health and longevity, bone density, and be able to give birth, raise, and care for my children in a physical way, right? Like, I will be able to lift them, I will be able to protect them and keep them out of danger and physically be capable to keep my children alive and to have a better experience when I give birth to them, because my physical health is a huge contributor to that. So again, it's like, yes, I could be going to the gym, and of course, I love that when I go to the gym and eat healthy and work out and all these things, I look good. That's great. You know, I'm not going to complain about that ever. But it's like, that's not a good enough reason for me. I have never found that to be a good enough reason. And as a result, you know, previously, before finding a good enough reason, I never consistently worked out. My weight and my physique fluctuated, and so did my feelings. This is another thing. Working out for me creates this profound sense of peace of mind in my life. Like, I just feel so much better when I work out. Like, the mental noise is far, far less. Another example of living more purposefully for me in my life is my marriage. People get married for many different reasons. At the deepest level, why my husband and I decided to get married is to heal our family lineages and to create a healed environment for our descendants to thrive in. That's the reason. That's what I'm thinking about, and that's what I get to return to whenever I am choosing how to respond to my husband when there's a disagreement, or just thinking about how I want to move through our marriage. That's my why. That is the purpose of what we're doing. So yeah, I'm going to make a good decision for that, and I'm going to be super pleased and satisfied with that result, because it's not about just making me happy today, right now, and blowing off steam or whatever it is. It's like, this is for everybody. Like, this is for the good of everybody. You know, if I'm healing my family lineage, or I have set my sights on that goal, that's also going to bleed out into the rest of the world. So kind of generally what I do when I'm trying to think of why I'm doing something, why I'm alive, what the point of all this is I try to take my actions out to 100. Like, think about what I'm doing and then out to the fullest extent. So, like I said with marriage, you know, we can think about, okay, if you're getting married because you really like this person and you want to spend time with them, that's great. It doesn't go too much further than that, though. It makes me feel good, it makes them feel good, but what if it stops feeling good? Then the point of the marriage completely collapses. So feeling good in that example is the 100. Like, it's about feeling good. But, like, feeling good really isn't an end in itself. Like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here. I am trying to live a good life that I enjoy and that means a lot to me. In my marriage, what we're trying to do is, like I said, foster this healthy environment for our descendants to thrive in. And, like, yeah, that feels good. It feels great. I enjoy living in that reality where I have that much purpose. But the feeling good is a side effect. It's not an end to itself. And the end to itself being the healing of my family line, and then also healthy people going out into the world and having a positive effect on everyone else that they touch, that's cool. And that makes me feel better than if I were just doing it to feel good. So that's my predominant suggestion, is to take your actions out to 100. And if you have something that you're doing in your life, or when I have something that I'm doing in my life and I take it to 100 and it's like, nothing really impactful could possibly come from this, that's kind of my sign that I should probably kind of nix what I'm doing or alter it in some way to give it at least the potential to have more of a positive, like, ripple effect in this world. What I think this really boils down to is a mindset shift from thinking about the things that have happened or are happening to me, and shifting to thinking about the things that I can do and the choices that I can make. I've talked about this before, like on my different social medias, but we all get the choice, right? Like there are constantly things happening to us that we have absolutely no control of. The things that come out of left field, the things that like, oh, that's just kind of a sucky thing that's happening. I have no say in that. I mean, we're constantly surrounded by other people, and all we can control is ourselves. So it makes sense that there are things happening to us that are outside of our control. There are forces greater than us in this world. So yes, things are going to happen that you don't have a say in. That's always available to look at and observe and focus on. But what's also always available to focus on is the things that we can do. In every situation, there are things that can be done. There are things that I can do. Even if it's just think about what to say or think about how I want to respond to a situation I have control over, I have the choice in how I respond to it. And that is always also available for me to look at. What are the choices that I can make? What are the things that I can do? What are the opportunities that I have? What is the potential for me to impact my own life? And I mean, like, this is the thing that I think about that makes me feel comfortable acting and striving to act with purpose. I have a body and a conscious mind with a will and the agency to do things in this world. If I wasn't supposed to do anything, I wouldn't have the faculties to do. Like, we are supposed to do things and participate in life. And I find that the more that I focus on that, the more opportunity I do see. The more potential I see, the more choice that I see in my own life. You know, growing up, my dad always told me, your life is a product of your choices. Your life is a product of your choices. And to be honest, that was super annoying to hear growing up because I was a child and all I'm seeing is a life that has been created for me, you know, on the most basic level. I was brought into this world and, as far as I know, did not have a choice in that. And, you know, I have family and the way that my parents wanted to raise me. None of that is my choice. There is absolutely truth to what he's saying, obviously, but there is a little more nuance. And I think that nuance is like, there are always things that happen outside of your control. There are always things that you have a say over, and focusing on the things, the elements of life that you have a say over is what's really going to allow you to have the best life possible. When you focus on the choices you can make and the opportunities that you do have, that's always going to make your life better than if you focus on the things that are happening to you. Because this is exactly what I'm saying. Take it to 100. If you are focusing on the things that are happening to you, you're basically telling yourself, there's nothing I can do. This is completely out of my control. Look at all of this stuff that's completely out of my control. And like, your mind feeds that, you know, the more you look at the things that are outside of your control, the more you focus on things that are outside of your control. Like, you're looking over here, you can only focus on so much at one time. That's what's going to be available to you, is things that are outside of your control. Whereas if you orient your perspective towards the choices that you do have, the opportunities that you do have, all of a sudden, you're focusing on the opportunities that you have, the choices that you can make, you're going to see them more and more and more. I mean, people call it like manifestation, and there's a whole new age culture about this, but it's a lot more simple, and it's not that convoluted. Like, it's not like your thoughts necessarily create your reality, but I mean, you can look in a certain direction, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to see what you're looking for. Of course, I'm sure you've heard this before, like, somebody in your life gets a new car, all of a sudden you're seeing that car all over the roads. It's not because everybody got that new car, it's because now it's something that you're focusing on, that your brain now has in its awareness, so it's going to pick up on it. Like, our brains recognize patterns and all of this. I don't have any like neuroscience to talk to you about, talking about my own experience and what I've learned from that, but I know that there is science out there to back that up. Anyways, the last thing I want to mention, I don't know if I can eloquently relate this to everything that I've already spoken about, but it's this concept of requisite variety, which basically is that the most flexible element in a machine or a machination is the one that's going to have the most success. And I think about that in my own life, being flexible, being able to change my perspective and to make new choices and to try different things is what has allowed me to be successful, much more than focusing on the same things that are outside of my control that I can do nothing about, that make me unhappy. Those things are always like, my life is not perfect. There are things in my life that I do not enjoy and that don't make me happy and that are outside of my control. They're over here. I can look at them whenever I want. I can, enjoy them whenever I want. I can reside in this space whenever I want, but I've found the more time I spend over here, the more time I want to spend over here. I like it over here. I don't want to do this other thing. It's not worth it. There's nothing useful to it. Unless you want to be depressed and wonder why you're here. So I deliver this message, and I hope you can tell, with all the love in my heart. I have struggled, as I've mentioned, almost ad nauseum at this point. I've struggled to find meaning and purpose in my life. And this has kind of helped me combat that. Of course, I would be remiss not to mention the fact that I have started attending the Eastern Orthodox Christian Church. I am a catechumen there, and I am on my journey to being baptized and fully becoming a member, and that whole faith journey and faith experience has greatly contributed to my sense of meaning and purpose in this life, and I would like to think that this perspective that I've shared with you in this video is all in line with the teachings of that church that I am coming to love so dearly. So if this message finds you where you needed it and you found anything useful from it, I encourage you to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and also go to your local Orthodox church and talk to your priest. Because that, above all else, has been what has helped me to find meaning and purpose in my life and to not be so depressed all the freaking time. It has helped me to start living for more than just myself. It has helped me to understand my purpose and the purpose of humanity and life as a whole. And that has, of course, contributed immeasurably to my happiness and continues to do so. So thank you so much for watching this video. Leave a comment down below telling me what you thought about it. I would love to talk to you. And there's plenty more where that came from. There's plenty more coming. So I will see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.